This is the Internet of Unintended Consequences, and this is my friend Tom.
And my friend Deb.
And today we're continuing our conversation about robots, robotics, technology, artificial intelligence, all that fun stuff. But one of the things that has come up as sort of an important question is this interaction or the relationship of robots and humans, or humans to robots, or robots to robots. Just what's the relationship? How do we do this?
Well, I think we're figuring it out. We're making it up as we go along.
Yes.
We're definitely making it up as we go along. But we just had a very interesting conversation with Dr. Ayanna Howard at Georgia Tech here in Atlanta, who brought up something about robots that got us talking about relationships we hadn't thought about before, and that was taking human parts, brain or a heart, and then putting them into a robot. We've been with robots is taking robotic parts like hands or arms and putting them on humans. But what a totally different concept that really gets us to thinking about human and robotic relationships.
Yeah, and her idea was almost to the point that it would blur the line of separation between a human and a robot, and sort of we'd have this third, I don't know, species of, because I could see like somebody very scientifically important, like let's say Stephen Hawkins, right? And that his body is deteriorating because of his illness, but what if we could take his brain and put it into a robotic structure? And then you gave me a curve to that. Because you said, okay, well, we'll put his brain, but then we'll put a kind woman's heart, was the way that you said it. And we have this discussion of, well, we assume that the robot's going to be smart because of Stephen Hawking's brain. Should we assume that the robot will be kind because of that woman's heart?
Well, I think you have to make that assumption if you're going to make the assumption he would be smart because of the brain.
So, I'm still convinced that our personality is coming from the brain and stuff, but it's interesting because when it comes to this idea of relationships with robots, one of the things that keeps coming up is, robots as potential caregivers, whether that's for people of an older age, and there's a movie out there called Frank and Robot, or Robot and Frank with Frank Langella that sort of talks about that. It's great, I highly recommend it. Or also as babysitters, right? As caregivers in that way to our children. But what about teachers in the classroom? What if they become teachers in the classroom? I mean, each of these implies a different type of relationship between the robot or the automated assisting technology and the person that we're calling the human.
Exactly, and she brought up another interesting point where she talked about the relationship that our children have with robots. And she talked about children in school, and she brought up the point, if you ask them if they want to go study calculus, you would get a very frowny reaction. But if you ask them, you want to go build a robot, they'll knock you down to get to the classroom.
Yeah, it's almost like,
you
want broccoli? No.
Right.
Yeah, I want a robot, right? I think that's true. It's a very exciting topic. I mean, even us, as we're older, when we started talking about, let's talk about robots, we were like, yeah, that's something cool to get into. But I think, it's interesting. The other thing that we sort of learned, or I learned, is this idea of trusting that younger generation, right?
Exactly.
Because they're growing up in this, and that they will figure it out. They will figure out what this world is supposed to be. They'll figure out these relationships based on things that they need that might not be what we need, right? Because our world is very different from the world that they're growing in.
Exactly, in the world that we're creating for them. And the message that we came away with was, don't be afraid. Embrace your robot.
Embrace your robot and, participate, learn. It was interesting because one of the things that Professor Howard said was that if you learn and understand, then the fear goes away, because you really know there's no magic mystery, right? There's no Wizard of Oz behind the curtain, because you get to understand what it is, and then you can really trust the younger generation and the fact that they might be teaching us
exactly
about these relationships with this technology and with these robots, and help us see the benefits more so than the negatives in forming this kind of interaction between the technology or the robots and ourselves. So, do you agree with us? Yeah, he says yes.
What a great topic.
fascinating. Don't forget to join us on Facebook and also Twitter. Hashtag is IoUC Robots for the entire month of September. This is going to be fascinating. I can't wait to hear what people have to say about robots and our future. So this is the Internet of Unintended Consequences. My friend Tom.
And my friend Deb. Please let us know your thoughts.
Have a great day.